Hi everyone. We are going to look at the Roman numeration system in this video. This is a variation on a simple grouping system. What's different about it is that it also uses a subtractive property. Now this does not mean that they did subtraction in their system, although that is true. It just means that when we are counting up the symbols, we don't always add. So in the Egyptian system, we looked at the value of all of the symbols, and then we added or tallied up all of those different values. In the Roman system, sometimes we add and sometimes we subtract, and there are some rules for when to do each of those things. So first of all, we need to know what the symbols are. A numeration system always involves a set of symbols. So here are the ones that we will look at for the Roman numeration system. Okay, and we have just some letters which represent various quantities. Notice we do have tens, 1, 10, 100,000. But we also have some fives. We have fives, 50s, and 500s. Here are the rules for using this system. Whenever you have a letter repeated in sequence, its numerical value is added. So 3 x's would represent 10 plus 10 plus 10, or 30. If you have smaller value letters following larger ones, then you add the numerical values. So LXVI is 50, 10, 5, 1, and those are all going from large to small, so we would add, and that represents 66. However, if you have a pair of a smaller valued letter preceding a larger valued letter, that's a clue to subtract the smaller value from the larger. So you may have seen IV before to represent 4, and because this is a 1 followed by the symbol 5, then we don't add, we subtract, okay, and you do smaller from larger. So this is 5 minus 1, or 4. Okay, and that's different than VI, which is 5, 1, large to small, so that would be adding, and that would be 6. Another example is XC. X is 10, and C is 100, so since we have a pair with a small before a large, we subtract, and that would be 100 minus 10, which is 90. And then finally we have 3 rules about what letters can precede what other letters, and we have ones, tens, and hundreds are the only smaller ones which can precede larger ones, and they can only precede the 2 next larger symbols. So 1 can only go before 5s or 10s, 10s can only go before 50s or 100s. All right, and then C represents 100, and that can only precede 500 or 1,000. All right, so the use of this is that we basically we never need to write 4 of any symbol. Right, so we, instead of writing 4 ones in a row, we would use the 1 before a 5 to represent that. Okay. Similarly, we never need 9 of a symbol. Right? I would, instead of writing out 9 ones, right, or the other option 5 plus 4 ones, okay, we wouldn't write that. We would write a 1 before a 10. Okay, so there are multiple ways to write some of these things, but you follow along with these rules whenever possible. All right, so let's try it out. How would we find the value of the Roman numeral LXVIII? Right, so first of all, I would just write down the value for each symbol. Okay, so L is 50, X is 10, V is 5, and then we have 3 ones. All right, then I would look through to see if there are any pairs of numbers where we have a smaller before a large number, and that would indicate subtraction. In this case, we don't. Everything goes from large to small, so that's a clue that we're just adding. All right, so I would add all of these numbers together. Okay, and then we would get 68. So this is the number for 68. Example 2, same idea, change to our numeration system. Right, find the value of XCIV. Right, X is 10, C is 100, I is 1, and V is 5. And then I would go through and look for any pairs of small numbers before large numbers. All right. And in this case, we do have a few of those. We've got a 10 before a 100 and a 1 before a 5. All right, so you would go through, mark off those pairs first, and do any subtractions. So this 10 and 100 together, that's a 90, and the 1 and a 5 is a 4. Okay, and then you would go back and do all of the addition at the end. So this would be 94. Okay, MCML. M is 1,000. Oops. All right, C is 100. We have another 1,000. And then we have L, which is 50. All right, so go through, and I've got large, and then smaller, and then, I've got a larger one again. So we've got a pair in the middle here of a small before a large, and then 50 is less than 1,000. All right, so go through, do subtractions first. So nothing happens with this first 1,000, but the second pair, that's 900, and then we have 50, and then go through and add. So this would be 1950. Okay, CCC XLVI. 3 C's is 300s. And then 10, and then 50, and then 5, and 1. Okay, go through and look for pairs of a small before a large. We have a 10 and a 50, and that's it. Okay, so that's going to be 40, and then we add all of the rest. So this would be 300 and 46. All right, DCCCLV. D is 500, then 300s, and then a 50, and a 5. All right, so go through, look for pairs of a small before a large, and we don't have any of those. Everything's in order from large to small, so this is a straight addition problem, and this is 855. Okay, let's try the other direction. Let's try to write numbers using Roman numerals. All right, so first of all of the symbols for Roman numerals are groups of 10 and also groups of 5, 50, and 500s. So those are the things that we want to look at first. So I would probably split this up by place value first. So I would look at the 19 as a 10 plus a 9. All right. And then use some of those shortcuts. All right. So if you have a symbol, all right, like for 10, we know that that's an X. And then for 9, we don't write, like a 5 and then 4 ones. And I don't also write 9 ones. All right, we have a shortcut. We can write a 1 before a 10 to represent 9. All right, and then you just smush all of that together. So this would be X, I, X. All right, how about 238? So first of all, let's split this up. Let's look at 230 and 8. Okay, 200, we have a symbol for hundreds, and I can write 2 of those. So 2 C's. And we don't need to worry about the shortcut until we get to a spot where we would need 4 of a symbol. Okay, so I don't need to worry about that one. 30 would be 3 10s, X, X, X. And then 8, I need to break that down into 5s and 1s. So that would be a 5 and 3 1s. And it's not 4 1s, so I don't need to look for a shortcut. And this would be the final answer. Okay, how about 1,999? So we'll look at 1,000, 900, 90, and 9. 1,000, we have a symbol for that. 900, I'm going to need to write that as 500s and 100s. So 500 would be D, and then 4 100s, and then that's a clue. that we shouldn't do that, right? We can't write 4 of a symbol. So I would look for that shortcut, and I would see if there's a way to make this. So what I really want to do is write this as 1,000 minus 100. So I need to put the symbol for 100 in front of the symbol for 1,000. Okay, so the symbol for 100 is C, and the symbol for 1,000 is M. Okay, and then 90, same thing. I don't want to write a 50 and 4 tens. I want to write this as 100 minus 10. So I need the symbol for 10 in front of the symbol for 100. So that would be an X in front of a C. And then 9, same thing. I want to write this as 10 minus 1. So the symbol for 1 in front of 10, or a 1 in front of an X. So altogether this would be MCM XCIX. 840. This would be 800 plus 40 and then no ones. Alright, so 800, I can write that as a combination of 500s and 100s. So that would be 500 plus 3 100s, so 3 C's. And then 40, I don't want to write that as 4 tens. So I want to write that as a subtraction. And notice that this one is 50 minus 10. So I can write the symbol for 10 in front of the symbol for 50. Okay, 72. So I can write this as 70 plus 2. And then 70 I want to write as a combination of 50s and 10s. So this is an L for 50 plus 2 10s. Alright, and then plus 2, so 2 I's for the number 2. So it's LXXII. Okay, hopefully that gives you enough examples to practice converting back and forth between Roman numerals and ours, which are the Hindu-Arabic numerals. Notice that this was a simple grouping system. We add up all of the values of the symbols, but it did have one tweak with some subtraction involved as well if we had smaller symbols before larger valued symbols.